All right, in our today's session, we are going to talk about in this video what is OOP. So earlier we discussed, let's do a quick recap as well. So earlier we learned some of the fundamentals of programming in Python, in which we learned all about variables, data types. In data types, we learned about integer, string, float, integer, string, float, and lists, dictionary, tuples, etc. And then we learned about conditional statements, which are if else. Then we learned about loops, which are like while loop and for loop. Then we learned about functions, and we also learned about functions with arguments. So this is what we have covered so far. Now we are going to cover about what is OOP. So OOP basically stands for object oriented programming. So Python is an object oriented language which allows you to structure your code using classes and objects for better organization and reusability. So, what are the basic advantages of OOP? So, basically, OOP provides a clear structure to program. Then it also makes code easier to maintain, reuse, and debug. It also helps you to keep your code helps you keeping your code dry. Dry means don't repeat yourself. It means you don't have to necessarily rewrite the code again and again. And it allows you to rebuild reusable applications with less code. So the dry principle, let's uh, talk about that. So basically, in the dry principle, it means that you should avoid writing the same code, the same code more than once. So, like, it's just like move repeated code into functions or classes and reuse it. This is how you can do that. So now let's talk about the first concept of OOP, which is classes and objects. So what are classes and objects? So classes and objects are the two core concepts in object-oriented programming. A class defines what an object should look like. And an object is created based on that class. All right. So let's say we have a class fruit. So its objects would be apple, banana, and mango. Or let's say we have a class car. So its objects would could be Audi, Toyota, like the car names and stuff. So when you create an object from a class, and it inherits all the variables and functions defined inside that class. Let's discuss it in a bit detail, but let us first create this as a file. Oh, sorry. Let me save this. Save. So OOP and classes.py, save. So now we have this save over here. So let's talk about classes a bit. So how do we create a class? But let's talk about the basic definition of class. So a class is like an object constructor or a blueprint for creating objects. All right. So let's create a class. So to create a class, we usually use the keyword class. So let's say class. Um, let's say I let me name it as my first class. And now in that class, I'm gonna go and write something like, let's say x equal to 5. I'm giving it some sort of data. Now let us create the objects. So we can use a class name, my class, to create objects. Now, how do we do that? All I have to do is, oh, sorry. All I have to do is, I'll say, let's say, object1 equal to my first class. And now if I want to print, I will just call my object1 and I'll say dot x and I'll save it. I'll just save this and let's run it a bit. So this concept is just like that. This is as simple as that. So here it is. It has printed our first class. So let's say I create a class fruits and let's say fruit name is equal to, let's say, apple, and let me call it fruit dot fruit name. And yeah, let's see if it prints out. Okay, so it's not printing it out. So, oh, sorry, I forgot to, sorry. Fruit object and now fruit name. Uh, sorry, fruit and then fruits class. I'll call it inside it. Now I'll print fruit dot fruit name and hopefully it should run it correctly now. Here it is. Perfect. So you can also call multiple objects using the same class. So let's say, mm, I'll take another fruit. Fruit is equal to fruits, and I can print it again. So it means that like you can print something similar again and again. And yeah, run it. Let's run it. Here it is. Now let us pass the statement. Let's say if you want to create a new class, let's say class vegetables. All right. So let me name it as vegetable name equal to cabbage, and vegetable is equal to vegetables. I'm calling it, and now let's print vegetable dot vegetables, vegetable name, and run it like this. And this is pretty much it about our OOP, our first concept of OOP. And we're gonna discuss some other concepts of OOP in our upcoming videos. See you in the next videos.